All right, everybody, what's good? What's good? Another video blog from me. Today I want to blog about tokenism. Tokenism in the black, possibly comic book community, but I'm gonna try to expand it to the black science fiction, speculative fiction community, and kind of alluded to this when I talk about the pre-Black Panther period and the post-Black Panther period and the effect that it had on black heroes and black stories in the speculative science fiction genre. But now I just want to talk about it more specifically. I was checking out a couple of stories today, comic book projects and things like that, and one of the stories jumped out at me, and it was what I felt made me give birth to this term in my head. I don't know whether it's out there in the universe or not, but tokenisms, not singular, right, but a whole bunch of tokens. Like when you take a whole bag of tokens and you just put them into a story. When I say that, you get a gay person, you get a straight person, you get a black person, you get a white person, you get an Asian, you get a Latino, Native American, and you make them all like best friends. You'd be like, how in the hell are these people like best of buddies? You know what I'm saying? Now, mind you, this is America, and I have a whole bunch of friends from a whole spectrum of people, even more than I knew, because I didn't even know certain people were specifically Haitian or what Caribbean island they came from, whether they were from Mexico or another South American, Central American country, you know, what Asian country they was from. So I may have had all of these friends because I didn't really discriminate, but you know, I might have just said, okay, you white. I don't know whether you was Mediterranean white, Northern Europe, or England area. No, I didn't know, and part of that is cool because I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? But in these comic books, and I'm specifically going to say comic books just to keep it short, but please, throughout this, know that I'm talking about comic books, science fiction, black science fiction books, and in film. You know, we try to put a multicultural package together that is unrealistic, and it is what I call tokenism. And to me, it is irritating. Oh my God. You know, we want to do these Power Ranger stories where these kids come together and they just represent every part of the world. And I have no problem with people from all over the world coming together to fight something central. Don't get me wrong, I'm not that kind of hater, but I'm saying make it realistic. I had white friends. As a black circle, we got white friends, but believe me, they're different acting white people than the white people on the TV show Friends. Okay, there's a culture. They're not the ones that you would find on Beverly Hills 90210. My white friends are like Gary Owens. My white friends are like Gemini, like Steve Coleman. You understand what I'm saying? They cool. They got the vocabulary. They like Eminem, and they're not hood. They're not all hood. Don't get it twisted. Every black person, that's another negative stereotype. Every black person isn't from the hood. So we got white people that's friends with black people from the suburbs. You understand what I'm saying? But believe me, they're different than, you know, they don't all support Trump. It's very hard to be hanging out and have a best friend that's black. It's possible. Shoot, Ku Klux Klansmen have black girlfriends. I don't know how the hell that works, but they do have it. But for the most part, and when you're writing a story, you have to stay sort of within the realm of the average. If you do step out of the average, then you've really got to explain it, because people are like, that doesn't make sense. How is that person with that person? How is that person friends with that person? How's that person going over there? So stereotypes are popular understanding of things to a certain extent. So you got to stay within the realm of believability. And if you step out of it, then you got to know you're stepping out of it, and you got to explain why you're stepping out of it and how you're stepping out of it. So for me, I see a story with a Latina girl, a black guy, that's possible, you know, and then a white kid, then I'm seeing an Asian, I'm like, all right, golly, then a Native American, then a gay person in there. I'm like, what do they do together? What movie, do it Friday night? How did this, you know, group of people who have so much not in common with each other come together? What's their glue? What brings them together? And not saying it's not possible, but yes, show us, you know, who. So for me, I like my stories like, you know, Iron Man has different friends than Black Widow, right? You know, Iron Man and Thor may be friends, but Thor is a different type of dude, right? And you know how Falcon and Captain America, they bonded through the military. So they showed that. They explained that good. But, you know, and then the Hulk comes in. I'm just talking about the Avengers, you know. The Hulk comes in as a scientist. So they pull that glue together. And so you believe that these people may have to make a date to have shawarma, right? After they save New York or America, right? But at the other end, you know that they do have different elements about themselves. So they're not gonna hang out on Friday night and kick it, meaning they just really come together for this particular goal. You know, they're here to save the world. So that's what they do together. But beyond that, they don't really have anything else in common. The Justice League is pretty good with that. You know, Wonder Woman, at least in the movies, they have to summon each other. So, you know, Wonder Woman is off doing her other thing. Batman and Clark Kent is covering newspaper articles. Flash is doing his thing. And then in Cyborg, whatever backstory they give him, it's a little different than the others. So that's cool. But at the end of the day, they bring them together and they show, all right, the bell has rang. It's time. We need each other. Batman make the phone call. Yo, Flash, pick up. And he goes, I'm already here. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. But I think it's the effect of something like the Power Rangers. I kind of believe that the Power Rangers kind of, you know, made tokenism, they like the poster child for tokenism, okay? And they're so tokenistic, they almost racist. You know, they give the black one, the Black Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, she's an Asian and shit and stuff. That's borderline racist. The Red Ranger, he's an Asian or he's Native American. Whoa, pause, you know. But I think that story is like the poster child for for tokenism, because I don't think it's realistic. I don't know people to meet and mingle and bond with each other without something else in common. Like the X-Men, they're all mutants. And even though they have that mutantism in common, they're an ostracized community. So because of that, they click together. But some of them have different lives because their mutation doesn't limit them, you know? So they can participate in society. Like Charles Xavier, he's a mutant, but he doesn't have any physical mutations, you know? Somebody like what's the one that jumps and has the tail, the blue dude, I can't remember. I'm asking y'all like y'all can tell me the answer. Anyway, he has physical mutations like Beast, you know. Those physical mutations prevent them from socializing with regular, you know, non-mutated people. So they bond around that, but they also have different lives. So I don't know. I'm just saying that it is frustrating when I see these groups come together that's contrived. Friends, Beverly Hills 90210, they're frustrating in another way because they're so one group oriented, that there's nothing wrong with them being friends. Is the fact that they paint the rest of the world through blind eyes. Like, there's no way New York is that white. And even if New York is that white, you don't see homeless people, you don't see people of color, you know what I'm saying? That just becomes problematic in a sense. Now, so I think there's an element that needs to be brought in on realistic world messages, you know what I'm saying? And maybe I'll blog on that on my way back. I'm going to my school's graduation now, so I'll blog about that on the way back, because it's something else that I thought of. I'll put it out here on this blog, is you know, how do you include real world issues? You know, I was looking at how much hate LeBron James gets, and how Barack Obama gets, and I just feel that, damn, if you're going to do a story as and have a black hero or a hero of any kind of color, there's some people that's going to have a problem with it, and you don't deal with that element in the room, it's sort of a problem, you know, for me, because it compromises your realism. And that's why I also think these token groups that come together have a compromised realism, because I'm like, who chose y'all? And then how do y'all get together? And then how do y'all not talk to each other about your differences? And then how does the world not speak to you all differently, you know, or talk to y'all, or make y'all role models and be like, yo, these are some special people, even if y'all can get together and do it. And, you know, to me, that's like the story. You know what I'm saying? I think ignoring it is like making you weird. If you know, be like, yo, they got all of us different people coming together, that's sort of interesting. You know, this one stone or this one entity brought us all together. Wow, how, you know, let me have some collard greens, make me some pie tie, you know, whatever the heck it is, you know, what do you eat over your house? That conversation needs to be held, because that's what people do when they meet each other from different cultures. If they like each other, they start to get to know each other, and they start to learn about each other's cultures. So I just think that if that's not done, that's problematic for me. And you have to explain why the hell they came together. It's beautiful to put it all together. I also personally don't think it's needed. I think in the post Black Panther era, I think a group of diverse black people, like a black gay person, has more in common with another black person than they do a white person. Now, they have gayness, or whatever gayness is, right? Sexual preference in common with other people in the LGBT community, but they do have blackness in common, because there's really nothing called a gay cuisine. There's really nothing called gay music, you know what I'm saying? So, or LGBT music or LGBT cuisine. So you're still going to eat like your culture. You're going to listen to music with people similar to your culture, right? So I think those are strong things that people bond around. Of course, your sexual and dating culture and behavior and your religion, all that got compromised. But, yo, there's thug black dudes, right? I just saw some show and I was like, dang, there's so many different types of black people. You don't need, if you want diversity, you can have that type of diversity, and people can certainly get into it, because they'll see that there's, you know, a connection to a different character. But I think for black creators, we try to succeed, and we want this mass appeal that we don't realize we don't really need it. We don't really need it. Some of the biggest crossover hip-hop artists in the early 80s and 90s were, you know, some of the less mainstream intended artists. You know, they were like, I'm getting into gangster rap. And the white people just loved them, probably more than the ones that was trying to sing, you know, the mainstream songs, you know, pop music, you know. So I personally think a black band of superheroes with diversity, you know, even if they had to fight the white person, would be successful, because we have suburbs, we got nerds, we got LGBT, we got male, female. All of that is beautiful diversity. And you know our women are diverse because, shoot, they have to make efforts to get along. They so daggone diverse. Same thing with dudes. So we got rival communities. All of that makes for a beautiful origin story before you had to go out and get, a Japanese person that you wouldn't even really meet in life. Some of those communities are so insulated that they don't have any friends from any other ethnicity. You know what I'm saying? So to put them in a group with a whole bunch of other diversity is a real contrived story. So that's it. I'm out. I'm over my limit, but I'll talk to you later. Peace.